Our shot is a little choppy. We're going to continue to walk a little bit closer to the scene. Did you guys happen to see what happened here? We're live on 10 News.
No, we didn't see it, but we heard the noise and came outside and saw the flames.
Okay, and can you just describe the flames and exactly what you saw?
Yeah, we just heard like a big kind of a muffled boom, and then I noticed some neighbors coming out, and so I came outside, and the house down the street had flames 10 feet over the roof at that point, and then the fire department arrived shortly after.
Okay, so we're going to head down over there, but you're saying that the house was hit, the plane hit the house.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I didn't even know it was a plane, but I heard from other people who came up, they said that they heard a plane sputtering somewhere, and that...
driveway and said there was a plane sputtering and asked if we heard it fall, so...
Okay, so you know what? Thank you so much for your time, guys. We're going to get down. So now they are telling us, Vanessa, that in fact a plane did go into a house according to those neighbors. So we're going to see if we can get a better shot for you. So just bear with me here. Mason, watch your foot right here. We want to make sure to give you a good look at that exactly as it's happening. The command right here. We're going to just walk through, and we are actually, now I'm starting to smell it, Vanessa, that thick smell of smoke, and we're doing our best to stay out of the way of first responders here. And as you can see, this is San Diego fire, and all of these houses along, all these neighbors telling us they indeed did hear this plane go down. We still haven't confirmed anything with officials, but just watch yourself right there, Mason. We're going to just see how close we can get, and as the closer we get, the more we're able to smell this. And here we go. I think we're about to see exactly where this happened. So Mason, you can come show you this house here, Vanessa. Thanks for bearing with me as we walk to the scene here. San Diego Fire Department at the scene of this house. I see some black charring inside. I don't see a plane yet, so Mason, will you walk around this fire truck with me? We want to make sure to stay out of their way while they're doing this very important work. So we're just going to walk around here. And wow, very, very thick smoke. And so it does look like that this is the house where we're going to give you a live look at the house where we believe this happened. We're going to get on the sidewalk to make sure not to get in the way. But so yeah, Vanessa, I mean, at this point, we're smelling a lot of thick smoke. I'm going to try and speak with some of the neighbors here if you want to stay with me with that to try to find out. Well, it looks like they're interviewing with police officers right now. But again, neighbors telling us that a plane did go into a house. We have got nothing confirmed with officials. We did try to get that information confirmed, but often they want to speak through the PIO officer. They don't want to just get the information out there. I see some other neighbors next door. We know that it looks like there's people in that house right next door to where this happened. Mason, if you can give us a quick look at that. So at this point, I don't see a plane here. We don't know if it was in the back of the house. We believe this is the only street that's closed off right now. The second these witnesses stop speaking with police officers, we're going to go talk with them ourselves, but it looks like they're describing exactly what they saw and what happened. So that is the latest information that I have right now. Mason, will you walk with me? Let's see if we can get anyone else to give us a little bit more information about what they saw. And the problem is we're so close to the scene.
Absolutely. Mahsa,
go ahead, Vanessa.
We're going to give you some time now to collect some more interviews and do your work out there. We know you just arrived there, and great job getting right to the front of the scene and getting that information from witnesses. We're going to let you do your job a little bit. We're going to come back to you, though, in just a few minutes. Right now we have a retired aircraft.
Sounds good, Vanessa. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mahsa, and we'll hear from you in a minute. Right now we have a retired aircraft accident reconstructionist on the phone with us to give us some perspective on this. Are you there?
I am.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you're able to see some of these images that we're looking at and the information that we're getting right now. Very preliminary breaking news, but we are getting reports that an airplane has crashed into a house. This is from witnesses. We know this is near Montgomery Field in Clairemont. Can you weigh in here?
Well, obviously, like you said, you're working with really early information, but the first thing will happen is the first responders will get out there and help everybody they can. Second thing will happen is they'll get the FAA out there and the NTSB to investigate the crash and take a look at the wreckage to see if they can interview witnesses like you're doing right now and try to put together what happened.
And there's an impressive number of fire and rescue out there right now. We haven't seen the airplane. I'm looking at live images of a house where we believe the plane went down, possibly behind this house. But our reporter is saying, you know, the smell is the jet fuel, the smoke, and witnesses heard a plane sputtering. Can you give us some, I guess, perspective? We know this is close to Montgomery Field, so planes, they're familiar with planes flying in and out. They're hearing that constantly there.
Like you said, dealing with witnesses is really tough because they don't know what they're talking about, and they're only saying what they heard. And it's a really tough job for the investigator, but that's what we're trained to do, is to try to listen to people say what they heard and try to interpret what that means. Yes. And sometimes that's a little bit interesting. But if you heard sputtering, that sounds like it's not a jet, it's a piston-powered airplane. But those are the kind of things you'll have to start putting together as you talk to more people. And certainly when you find the aircraft wreckage itself and know what kind of airplane it is, that'll enlighten a lot of information.
Right. And this, sadly, not the first time that this has happened in San Diego.
No, that's true.
Okay. Well, we want to thank you for weighing in with us, and it looks like our reporter has some more information for us, so we're going to get back to her in the field right now.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Mahsa.
Hey, Vanessa. Vanessa, can you hear me?
Go ahead, Mahsa. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Tell me your name. You just finished speaking with police.
Yeah, my name is Treadwell. We were just walking down the street and the plane flew overhead, and it sounded like it lost one of the engines. So my wife and I looked up and we kind of watched the plane, and sure enough, it turned back, like it was trying to hit back to the airport. And it was kind of going back and forth like it was trying to get air under the wings. And I thought maybe it was trying to hit 805. And then when we heard the explosion, we were actually at the end of the street by that time, and we could see the smoke, and we thought, no, that's too close. So we ran down the street, and when we got here, there was like maybe 3 people on site. So we just ran over there, we broke the windows, we were breaking out hoses, putting out the fire. And then when the fire engines came, we went next door and putting water on the roof so the ambers didn't get on it. So.
You were breaking the windows of the plane?
No, of the house that it hit. Yeah.
Okay. Can you describe this plane? How big was it?
It looked like a small Cessna, maybe a 4-seater, a real small one.
Okay, and can you describe where the plane landed?
I didn't see it. Well, I saw it come down, but I couldn't see where it was in relationship to the house.
This is the house we're speaking about, right?
Yeah, this house right here.
And these are your neighbors?
Yeah, right across the street.
Do you know if they were home at the time?
I hope not, because they got a little one. They got a little infant. So, but when we were there breaking the windows, we were yelling, and we didn't hear any response. So, hopefully everybody's okay. Nobody was there.
So the house had caught on fire here.
Yeah, it was a mess.
Do you have any information? Is the plane hit a house? Is it in the backyard? Do you have any information about the status of the people on that plane?
Yeah, it didn't look good because it looked like it hit the backyard. Because the fence and everything was torn down.
Right, I mean,
yeah, just debris and everything. And then the house was on fire. So it looked like it hit the fence and then it went into the house.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that information. If you stand by with me for just 1 second, I want to just see if Vanessa has any other information. So here we have one of the neighbors. He does tell us that a family lives here with a small child. He's not sure if they were home at the time, and we sure hope that they were not home at the time. He's describing this plane as a small plane, possibly, you said 4 people, correct? Yeah. Possibly 4 people. Again, we haven't confirmed this with officials yet, but he doesn't have any update as to the plane. Did you actually see the plane in the backyard?
Yeah, I saw the tail section of it. In fact, when we were on the other house putting water on the roof, there was a white glow. And I could see through the fence, and it looked like that portion was the plane, but the only portion I saw was the actual tail.
And was the rest of the plane intact? Did you see?
I couldn't tell because it was a mess.
I understand with that vantage point. Thank you so much. But yeah, so Vanessa, right now we don't have any information about exactly whether anybody was hurt on that plane. We have no information about the people that were inside. We do see a car in the driveway here, and you heard how neighbors are helping neighbors when something like this happens, breaking the windows and making sure that the people who live in this house are not there. So again, we don't have any information from officials about exactly what happened. We do our thoughts and prayers are with the people who were inside that plane described by this witness that he did see that plane go down. We sure hope that another home is not impacted. I can, Mason, can you show where the yellow tape is? I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. So we're very close. We're right in the middle of where all of this happened. I think the question right now, was anyone home? Who was on that plane? Are they injured? We need to get all of those questions answered, and we're also working to see if there was any video evidence of what happened. Oftentimes, you know, nowadays people do take out their cameras, and that can provide clues as to what happened. So now, according to a witness, they have confirmed to us that a small plane, possibly could see 4 people. We don't know how many people were on this plane, that plane did crash. He doesn't think it looks good, but from his vantage point, he really wasn't able to see at all. And he does tell us, I believe a couple lives here with a young child. We see firefighters were obviously quickly able to get to the scene. The outside of the structure doesn't look that bad. We do see a lot of charring on the inside of the structure. We are trying to keep a respectful distance away. The most important thing is what officials are doing right now, and by the looks of it, people might have been home when this happened. We do see neighbors. The houses are so incredibly close together. So thank goodness firefighters were able to respond so quickly to the scene. Mason, will you walk with me? Let's see if we can show another vantage point while making sure that we completely stay out of the way of police on their investigation. If we can show this house right now. Here's officers speaking with the people who were inside this house, and Mason's going to pan over just how close it was to where we believe this plane went down in the backyard. It looks like this is a part of a fence here, making sure we get in the way of the ongoing investigation here. We are going to want to go and speak with the people that are directly next door, but this is about as close as we can get to what's happened right now, making sure that we're getting that information out to you, but we're not impeding this investigation at all whatsoever. The most important thing right now, and I know our desk is working to confirm this, is anyone injured? Are the people on that plane okay? That's the critical information that we want to get answers to right now. We do see a car in the driveway here. We hope that the family was not home at the time. You did hear from that neighbor, the Good Samaritan, who broke windows, trying to help his neighbors who live right across the street. So people were home when this incredible scene unfolded on this residential street of a plane coming down, and we're going to definitely try to speak with the people here. They're still with police right now. Let's take a little bit more of a walk. Mason, watch your step right here to see if there's anybody else that we can speak with. I have got no information about media staging area to get some of this information confirmed with officials, and if we have time, we are going to try to see if we can get perhaps a view behind the house to perhaps see this plane where we're told that it landed. That gentleman, the neighbor that you just heard from live on our air, from his vantage point, he could only see the tail. He thought it didn't look good, but again, we hope that he is wrong. There's another young woman here. Let me see if she's okay if we speak with her. Hi, I'm with ABC 10. Can we speak with you for a moment? Up to you. Okay, thank you so much. So we are live on the air. Can you tell me your name and just what you saw?
My name is Donna Knoll. Actually, I was in the house and all I heard was an explosion. And I told my son, because he was in the room, I said, that's more than just a car hitting another car. I said, that's something more serious. So I ran out and saw the neighbor's house on fire.
Did you see a plane?
No, I did not hear it or see it. I just heard an explosion.
Were your neighbors home at the time?
No, they're not.
So they're definitely okay?
Yeah.
That is wonderful news. Thank you so much for telling us. Is there anything else that you can tell us about how close perhaps we see the house where this happened? We believe it happened in the backyard. Do you know what's on the other side of the street? Is it a lot of land? Is it another?
It's a park. Well, there's a elementary school and then it goes into a park, the Olive Grove Park.
So Olive Grove Park is right behind this house right here?
Correct.
Now,
yeah.
Would that be crowded with people at this time? But how long ago was this? Do you remember? I know it's hard with everything happening so fast.
Maybe going 5 or 4:45, something like that. It wasn't that late. I don't know if anybody's going on or what's going on at the park.
Any information about exactly how close the school would be? Our main concern is the safety of people on the ground as we're waiting to see if the people on the plane were okay.
I know nothing about the people on the plane. The school is more on that side of the block.
Okay.
So I would say this is more on the park side.
Okay.
So it just depends. I know there's trees, and I don't know the picnic area. I don't think there's anything like that. It's just more of a grassy area.
And did you see? You said you saw flames. Can you describe that for us?
I just know it was shooting on the back side of the house. I did take a few pictures of it.
Okay.
But I don't think it, as you can tell, it did not happen on top of the house. It's more in the backyard.
And then it just popped over with the dry conditions we're having. The fire just quickly spread?
That's what kind of, yeah, I guess you can say it kind of looked like that.
And what went through your mind? I mean, to see something like this on your street?
Well, I've lived here for 26 years, and it's just, we knew it was a matter of when this was going to happen, a plane crashing into one of our homes.
And why do you say that?
Because we see planes flying all over, all the time. So it is scary.
Small planes, big planes, or?
Montgomery Airport's right here, so we have planes flying over all the time.
Is there any other information you can give us, or I don't know what the discussion was with officers today, what they were asking you?
I know the owner. She was a childhood friend of my husband, so I called her and let her know that her house was on fire, and so she was able to get a hold of the rental people, and everybody was fine. They're not home.
That is wonderful news. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for speaking with us. So a bit of wonderful news. This neighbor just confirming that the family who lives in this house, who rents it out, was not home at the time. So we are so glad to hear that, Vanessa. But we are very concerned with the people who were on the plane. We have no idea. At least one person obviously had to be on the plane. Did you happen to see anything here? Can I speak with you?
No, I didn't.
Would you share what you saw? Go ahead.
My name is Mark. I was pulling up to my house from work, and I heard a really loud commotion. I couldn't really tell what it was, and all I saw was bursts and flames, and immediately me and a few other neighbors ran to the house trying to see if everyone was okay. I couldn't tell if anyone from the plane was hurt, or we couldn't tell much about the plane itself, but our priority was to just try and kind of break down as many windows as possible, get inside, see if anybody is there, because I know they have a dog, they have a toddler, and those are my two biggest concerns, in my opinion. I had to make sure that they were okay, or at least not home, which thankfully, I don't think the entire family was home. I think it was only just a person or two, but I heard loud screams.
We just confirmed that none of your neighbors were home. I know your neighbors are okay.
That's a good feeling. I'm still shaking to this point. I don't even know what to do. We just tried to do our best, but the fire department did a great job of coming here and getting here in time and doing what they need to do in order to. Unfortunately, their dog didn't make it though. That's probably the heaviest thing that happened.
How do you know that?
They brought the dog over to our house because they want it to be like, we need to give it back to its owner because it's their dog. Like, you got to respect that at the same time, you know what I mean?
And we're very, very sorry to hear that an animal passed away as a result of this.
He was like my dog. He would always just kind of come over to our house and just kind of chill and everything. So everyone in that house was kind of like family to us. So to see that happen and to see it that close to my house just freaked us out, you know. I don't even know what else to say, to be honest.
And it looks like we're having some transmission problems there with Mahsa, but we'll get back with her in a moment. If you're just joining us, what we're covering now, you're looking at live images. These are new images that I'm looking at with you for the first time, so you can see how intense that fire is. That blue house is right where Mahsa is standing. That's where she has been reporting from. And just to give you some perspective where this is in Clairemont. It's by Montgomery Field, and that area that it's in is in Olive Grove Park. There's a park there, there's an elementary school there, and the plane, from what we've been able to determine from witnesses, landed in the backyard of that house, the blue house, and then the house caught fire. Mahsa was able to confirm that the people inside that house were not home. She was able to confirm that their dog, their pet, did die in that fire, but thankfully that family not home, because we've learned they have an infant there, and we want to keep going with these pictures. You can see how intense those flames are. We're dealing with jet fuel, and one witness believed that it was a small Cessna, possibly a 4-seater, but we haven't been able to get anything confirmed with the fire department, with the police department. They're obviously very busy. This is very early in the investigation. This happened about 4:45 this evening. But we want to head over to Jen De La Cruz. You've been tracking on that map exactly where this is at to give some perspective.
Yeah, so we've been talking about those winds for the past couple of days. We haven't really had any significant winds moving through the Clairemont area in the past hour or so. So looking at our map, we don't have a reporting station in Clairemont. The closest one would probably be Kearney Mesa. So wind's pretty calm there right now. The other thing you have to factor is our visibility is pretty good. We're not dealing with any fog. We don't have a whole lot of cloud cover. So, I mean, the other thing that air traffic controllers have been dealing with, of course, is all the aircraft that have been used to deal with the fire and the smoke that's been as a result of the lilac fire. So we don't know if it's maybe a communication problem, some kind of interference with firefighters doing their work in other parts of the county, because our conditions right now really are pretty clear as far as plane flying does go. So we're not dealing with any major issues as far as visibility or cloud cover, fog at this point. Our wind speeds that have been significant are further off to the east. So once again, Clairemont, you're not going to see it here on this map. They don't have a reporting station from the Weather Service in this particular map that we're showing you. So the closest one would be Kearney Mesa. No significant winds have been reported there in the past hour or so. So you have to wonder, just speculation at this point, but it may have been an issue with some communication interference, possibly dealing with the fire that's going on in North County. But otherwise, weather-wise, there have not been any significant issues right now that we could imagine would cause this plane to crash into that house if that was the case. Vanessa.
All right, Jen, and we want to bring it back right now to Mahsa. She has some new information, and something that we're trying to learn is if there are any injuries. And of course, we haven't gotten any confirmation, but we know the people inside that house not home, but no word yet if anyone in the plane was hurt.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Vanessa. I'm going to continue to talk to Mark, but we do want to show you some video. It might be hard to see. We can't turn it over very quickly, so my photographer is going to show you just what Mark here was seeing. You see the flames. I'm trying to keep this image very still. This is a video that Mark took of the flames of his next door neighbor's house. So we see a lot of flames. We see some people standing there looking at what's happening. We see firefighters. He's getting a lot of text messages nonstop about people wondering if he is okay. But we just wanted to make sure. I'm going to give you your phone back. Thanks for sharing that. He's going to share with me in a second. We wanted to show you just some of the flames and activity that was happening. You know, the question that we're trying to answer right now. What can you tell us about where the plane landed, the configuration? Can you paint a picture? That's our big question right now.
I tried to videotape as much as I could from where the ruins were, but to be honest, the plane, it didn't even look like a plane crash. It just looked like a bunch of scraps and metal, and just, you couldn't even piece it together to see that it was a plane, but it definitely sounded like one. It was, like, the second we looked up, all we saw was thick smoke and fire. The first thing we had to do was go and see if everyone was okay before taking footage or before recording anything. That was our priority. Our priority was to make sure everybody was okay and then proceed to get footage. And like, it's a horrific sight. I mean, it's not something you see every day, so it's kind of hard to bounce back from something like that. Especially, I feel very sad for my neighbors. And it just shows how tight a community can be when something like this happens. The amount of people that were in my house trying to save it from getting burned, and the amount of people that were inside their house trying to make sure everyone was okay. It's really nice to see everyone kind of get together like that. We wouldn't want it to happen in this type of situation, but the fact that we can all come together and make sure everyone was okay was crucial.
And have you spoken with police yet?
They asked me a couple of questions based on like how many people live in the house and how many people live in our house, to make sure. They were just taking a head count, making sure everyone was okay, but they're just doing their job.
Well, thank you so much for speaking with us, and that's wonderful how you stepped in to try to help your neighbors, and we're so very sorry to hear about their pet.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And so, Vanessa, we're still in the chaos of everything that happened here. let's walk a little bit closer. I don't know if the scene here has changed at all, but to kind of give you a look, watch your foot, Mason. There's a big, there you go, exactly, the hose from firefighters to give you a look at the scene and to just recap kind of what we're seeing. Oh, actually, they are still putting water inside that house. Mason's going to, if you move over a little bit to the right, Mason, you can get a view of that on camera. So yeah, Vanessa, the good news that nobody in the house was injured. The bad news, according to that neighbor, that a pet was injured. The incredible thing that we are seeing here in our community, and this is what we would expect, how everyone immediately jumped into action, doing everything they could to try to save their neighbors. Mason, walk with me over here. I want to see if the people next door would like to speak with us. Maybe they don't, but it doesn't hurt to just ask them as we try to get more information. We just want to see if the people on this plane are okay. Just any information we can get about the plane. I'm going to just ask if they'd like to speak with us. Totally up to you. We're live. We're with ABC 10. Can we just talk with you briefly? Hi, I'm Mahsa. I'm so sorry about what's happened. Do you mind if we speak with you briefly? We're live on the air.
Yeah, that's fine.
Tell me your name and what's happened.
My name is Rula, and I live next door. I was in the shower, and we just heard a loud noise, and my parents were literally sitting in the living room, which is right up against the wall. We just started running, and my dad grabbed the hose. The fire was right up against the fence. And then I called 911 immediately. They told me they're on their way. And yeah, we just tried to get everything important out of the house. But I called the owner, or the girl that lives next door. She's out of town. I don't know where exactly. She was crying, so I just had to let her know. We know they have a dog, and he actually did not make it. He's with us right now, so we're just hanging on to him.
I'm so sorry. That's so difficult.
It is. So
how are you holding up right now?
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay. My family's safe. It was could have been our house. And I'm just glad that no one is home. I'm pretty sure no one's home. I haven't heard anything else otherwise, so.
What happened? Did you see the plane, or?
We did not. I was not outside or anything. I was just in the house. I was in the shower, and I just heard a loud noise, and I thought it was like a car crash into a house. But when we ran outside,
that's a lot more common, a car crashing into a house.
Right. So we just saw flames, and it was just on fire. I don't know. I know Mark showed you a video. It's insane. Everything in the back is demolished, and even the house next door, their whole backyard's just trashed.
And it's okay if you don't know, because I know it's a very chaotic scene, and this is not the most important thing on your mind, but how far is the plane from these structures, these homes?
I have no idea. I tried to see if I could even see if I didn't know there was a plane until they started telling us. So I just thought maybe it was an explosion within the house, but didn't realize there was a plane.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time. I'm so glad your family was okay. They were so close to everything. We're glad your neighbors are okay, and we appreciate you talking with us.
Thank you.
Okay, so Vanessa, again, it's very hectic at these scenes, as I'm sure you know, as you've reported on so many times in the past. Mason is going to walk over, and we're now, this is the young woman that you just heard from. This is her house, and you see how incredibly close it is to the house where we believe the plane, somewhere in the backyard of this house where the plane went down, and we did see the flames. I don't know if you were able to see it on the video that we tried to show you live on the air, but definitely not what you want to see with the conditions that we're having right now. Any small, tiny fire. Mason, let's try to see if we can get them another view of firefighters as they're trying to make sure that the hot spots are out. But yeah, this is definitely not what firefighters want to be dealing with, as we're all waiting to hear if the people who are on that plane, the person or people who are on this small plane are okay, or what has happened there. Nobody's able to tell us how far away the plane was from this home. We are being told that behind this home is a park, so that certainly is good news that behind this home is not you know, another house where we'd have to worry about somebody else and another house who was possibly injured. But let's walk to the other side and see if there's any damage here. Mason, watch your foot. There's a big hose right here and some broken glass on the floor. But again, Vanessa, the most pressing question right now, we're concerned about the person or persons who would have possibly been on that plane. And here's a live look at part of the investigation. The San Diego Fire Department hazmat team, along with San Diego police, talking with neighbors here in the house next door to the house where we believe the plane went down somewhere in the backyard. All of this, we're being told, butted right against a park. And Mason, feel free to walk around whatever it is that you're able to show, what did you want to show. So Vanessa, I'm sure our desk is working to get confirmation about the person or persons who were on this plane. People in this area, they do tell us with the airport so close by, there's always planes going overhead. And that one woman, you heard her, she said she was concerned that this would happen. I know from my own reporting in the past, this is exceedingly rare for something like this to happen. And we are just so grateful that it did not, this plane, we believe, did not go into any home. It does appear that it did go into the backyard of this home, and we know that that is because often of the training of pilots. This is something they're very concerned about. When something does go wrong, from pilots in the past that we've spoken with, giving you a live look of the scene here, we do want to make sure everyone in this house is safe. I see police are standing outside this house, but, and here's a look at crews as they're trying to figure out what happened here. We want to make sure to stay out of their way. We know that pilots are always conscious of this. Should the worst happen, should their plane start to have trouble, we've done so many stories in the past of how they steer the plane away from homes. So the plane, we believe, did not hit the home here. We believe it somewhere in the backyard. No one able to answer that question, and perhaps that's bad in and of itself, the fact that no one can answer the question. People talk about seeing debris, a part of the plane. So it's just, I don't know if it was nightfall by the time this happened. I believe it was not, because the sun was starting to set as we were about 7 minutes out, and we saw that black smoke start to rise. But it does look like they have put out all the hot spots of this house. Everyone here seems like the situation is under control, and we're all just waiting. And here's some San Diego police on the scene here. They're getting head counts. They are making sure that everyone is okay. I'm going to work to get more information. The second we find out what's happened to the person or persons on that plane, we'll be back live on the air. Vanessa.
Mahsa Saedi, thank you for reporting out there. You've been with us live for the past 30 minutes, so we're going to give you a chance to collect your breath and get some more information for us, and we'll be coming back to you at the top of the 6 o'clock.